Good evening and welcome to Angel's Haven. I had hoped to start my outdoor project by March 1st, but we've had a resurgence of our rainy period. So instead, I'm finishing up some rearranging and redecorating inside. When last we left, I think I had been working in the kitchen area, and I think I ended with just a simple view of my sitting room. And I have made my biannual changes in the sitting room. I think I'm really starting to get to the point where I'm okay with changing things around every 6 months. So I'm going to show you what it looks like now. I'm going to make a few changes that are in the works. Moving things around, the goal of this is to be able to have a couple of people over, which I couldn't do before. It was just too crowded and no one felt comfortable sitting in it. And I think I'm pretty close to that point. In terms of the outdoor, the goal of the outdoor project will be to make the deck that I have more usable from, say, March to November. Once December, January roll around, we get a lot of rain, and I'm not going to pay to enclose it. That's just an extravagance that I can't justify. But I have some modifications in mind that will make it reusable most of the year, or usable most of the year. So let me pause and turn the camera around. I'll show you where we're at with the sitting room. But bear in mind that in the next several weeks, I'll be doing some work on the outside. And that should be a lot of fun because I haven't really done very many videos outside my house. I've done videos driving around and that sort of thing. But working on the outside of my house, I haven't done any of those, I don't think. Maybe when the deck got built. So I'm going to show you what we're working with here. So let's see if I can zoom out. Okay, so the goal was to have more seating that could comfortably fit 2 or 3 people. I took the love seat out. Some of you suggested a big, comfortable chair. And pardon me for sticking my finger in front of the lens. I might get a small, comfortable chair. I really like that rocker. It was out on the deck, but it's really not intended to be on a deck. Right now I have a folding chair there, which is the match to the one that I use at my table. But we're looking for what in the older days might have been called a boudoir chair or a slipper chair, which is a smaller, easy chair. In just a minute, I'm going to be moving the clothes hamper. I did get a more respectable clothes hamper than the one I had. And then, of course, I still have the famous Tim Anderson chair and my 2 very famous Amish tables. I'm sure there's a video on here somewhere that talks about the source of my Amish tables. If not, let me know and I'll explain it sometime. And then I'm still enamored of these shoe shelves, but they are actually going to move. And let me pause and move myself. Hold on. So as you can see, we finally got the small child's toy dresser hung up on the wall and the wicker cabinet under it, which I've had for 30 years. I have a half size of it, which I bought at the same time as I bought this one. They were my bathroom cabinets at my traditional house in Kansas City. The half-size one is literally half the width of that, and it's shorter. It's currently in the bathroom at Mubdy's, and this one is probably going to go to Mubdy's. It's almost empty. Tonight I'm going to empty it, the rest of the way. It probably has 2 or 3 things left in it. And then the new laundry cabinet that you saw is going there. I'll just pull the shoe shelves forward a little and put the laundry cabinet behind it, and that will allow me to move the cedar chest closer to the wall, and then this space will be big enough for people to actually walk into the sitting room. I gave some thought to putting those shoe shelves. Actually, let me be more clear. I'm taking the shoes out of the shoe shelves. I have some little cubbies in the main part of my tiny house, which currently have other things in them, and those other things are in small baskets. Those cubbies are actually meant for shoes, but I haven't used them for shoes for a long time. So I'm going to take the baskets out of there, put the shoes in there, and put the baskets in these shoe shelves, and then there'll be closed storage there. I really like the look of those shoe shelves. I tried to find an actual cabinet or closed shelving that looked like that, but I couldn't, so I'm going to sort of create my own. So that's what I'm doing. My friend Michelle Burke came over and hung that cabinet on the wall, which I really appreciated. I still have too many things in the back of my door, but that's really only because it's winter and I have a lot of shawls and sweaters. So anyway, that's what we're working on. I just want to make mention of the fact that those curtains were put up by my son on Christmas Eve in 2017, the first full week that I spent in this house. That means they've been up there. I mean, I've taken them down to wash, but the curtains themselves have been hanging there for 7 years. And everything I've ever brought into this area, first one, it was a built-in bed, and then since it's been a sitting room, everything I bought has gone with those curtains. They came from Target, where I don't shop anymore because of their decision to knuckle under on diversity, equity, and inclusion. But those were great curtains. I actually bought 2 pair, and I hadn't used the other pair, and someone admired them, so I gave them the other pair. So anyway, I'm going to work on moving the rest of the things out of that wicker cabinet, probably putting the wicker cabinet in my car to go to the shop on Friday, and then swapping out the shoes in here for the items in the baskets in what were actually intended to be shoe cubbies. So that's what I'm doing now, and I'll show you that in a little bit. So, of course, I couldn't leave you hanging. That pile on the cedar chest is mostly like sweatpants and t-shirts that I usually wear either to lounge around the house or sleep. That was in the bottom drawer of the white wicker cabinet here. And these are actually my summer shirts. They were folded neatly in the top drawer, and when I picked them up out of that top drawer, neatly folded, I promptly dropped them on the floor, and now they're not neatly folded. I have ordered these really cool, I hope they're cool, bamboo underbed storage drawers. Right now, I just have very little under my bed because I've been getting rid of things that were there. I think there's one plastic clothing bag full of that has summer dresses in it, and then in the back there are some photo albums, that sort of thing. But there's not much under there, so I wanted to put my summer clothes under there in the winter and my winter clothes under there in the summer, but neatly stored, which I've gone through a series of plastic tubs or storage bags. Those have not worked. I've spent a lot of time living with having to have things stowed away. I've watched a lot of videos about stowing things away. I've watched a lot of videos about tiny living, as you can imagine. And the ones that I've ordered, I believe, will suit my needs and the way I live. So these will go in one of those, and the dresses that are in a plastic floppy clothing bag will go in the other, and then the area under my bed will be neat and tidy with no floppy plastic things and no plastic tubs. I have had plastic underbed storage. I don't like it. So, bottom line. Now, one thing, I want to show you two things. One, there's my closet, the 21 inches of hanging space. That basket was in there with my, I own four pairs of winter pants. I'm wearing one, and there are 3 in there. I think there might be actually 4 in there. So 5. So this basket has been in that space under my hanging clothes. There's another. So these are navy blue, and I have a black pair. I don't know where they are right now. Maybe in the laundry. But that pile there of basically sweatpants and big t-shirts is going to take up the other half of this basket. I don't know if you can tell, but this basket is really quite large. And folded up neatly, those will fit in there. I know, because I think they were in there at one point. But the other thing I want to show you, which you will find very amusing, is, first of all, yes, I have a tripod. Yes, I have a real camera. And yes, I have a little tripod with a cell phone adapter. All 3 of those things were in there in the back of my closet, where I think they have been for maybe 2 years. So now that I've found them again, maybe I'll use them. And then you won't have to see me holding my cell phone and sticking my finger in front of the lens and so forth. So anyway, I'm going to finish this, take these things upstairs for now, put them in that half-filled plastic underbed storage thing, which I can't stand. Fold those up and put them in there. And then the wicker cabinet, which is now empty, it can't go outside because it's raining, but it can move out of that compartment, and maybe in the morning when I leave to go to work, I'll put it in my car. And then I'm going to move the new laundry hamper over there, and then I'm going to switch the shoes back into the shoe cubbies. Let me see if I can show you the shoe cubbies. So there are the shoe cubbies. This basket was in the top one. This basket is filled with probably, well, first of all, my Tibetan flags, which I took down when it started to have a rainy season. Or maybe that's the extra set. I think I buy them 2 sets at a time. But anyway, Tibetan flags will get hung outside. Most of what else is in this compartment is probably rubbish that can be thrown away. And then those 2 do you call those baskets? I don't know, whatever they are, whatever this is. Those actually have my small handheld weights and my exercise bands, which I do use. But they will look neater and tidier in those bamboo shelves than shoes do, and they're equally accessible to me. I use them maybe not every day, but I use them. So I'm going to take those out, dispense with most of this, put those 3 baskets in the 4 shoe cubbies, and put my shoes back in here where they belong. I don't know why they're not there. Things evolve. So that's what I'm doing, and I'll show you when I'm done. So this clip's for anybody that grew up in the 60s and 70s, as I did. I was born in 1955, for those of you who don't know. What you ask, is this shirt? Well, of course, as you can see, it's an original, authentic Grateful Dead shirt. I think it is, it's pre-GDM merchandise, in fact. It probably, let's see what it says on the label. Yeah, liquid blue. So pre-GDM, Grateful Dead merchandise, I think is a creature of the 80s, maybe 70s, late 70s. I really don't know. Don't quote me on any of this. But here's the point. This shirt belonged to my little brother, Stephen. Some of you might know that he passed away in 1997. Trigger warning, he died by suicide. I got several things of his when he passed away, most of which, I'm looking around, most of which, if not all of which, I have subsequently re-gifted. I got his 2 coffee mugs, which I gave to his daughters. He had 2 daughters with whom he did not have relationships. I gave 1 coffee cup to one of them and 1 to the other. I got his Tiffany lamp, which I gave to one of his daughters. I got a couple of his long sleeve shirts, which I gave to one of his daughters. I got a few other things which my son has. I'm trying to think. I'm really looking around to see if I have any. Oh, this wasn't his. Well, it was his in a way. If you see the 3 clay handprints under the, one of them is not a handprint, it's like a wall hanging thing. But under the angel shelf, right above the blue rocking chair, there are 3 things, 3 clay things hanging, and the one on the left is my little brother Steve's handprint from kindergarten. I actually got that when my mother passed away, or probably my father. But I got this Grateful Dead shirt, and it is in tatters. That's the way I got it. I think probably this is a burn hole from obvious things that would have been burnt when you were wearing Grateful Dead shirts, which are legal in California. The burning things. Probably pot. Might have been just cigarettes. But I have kept it for 28 years, and I discovered it in the wicker cabinet with my spring shirts neatly folded. And when they fell on the floor, this fell out, and there it is. I didn't realize I still had it. I thought it had kind of disappeared over the years. Or I really thought it disappeared when I moved here, but it didn't. So here it is. Here are the things neatly folded. The pants that I'm wearing, I actually usually hang up because they're a material that would wrinkle. And the black, these are merino wool, like wide leg pants, and I have a black pair. This half, there's my Prospero shirt in case Will Lethem is watching. This half is just like loungewear, stuff I sleep in. And 1, 2, 3 pairs of pants and 4 with the black. I really do not need those. Probably will get rid of them. Or not the Prospero shirt, don't worry about the other things. So that is now empty, and those are now folded. So I'm going to carry on, but I just couldn't resist taking time to show you Stephen Patrick Corley's Grateful Dead shirt. Okay, so here you go. This is where I'm at. Oh, Mary Pettit. I bumped your picture with my head when I came out of there. Okay, Mary Pettit, you're back straight. So, let's sit down. In the time that I've lived here, which is 7 years, in 2018, I was going back and forth 3 or 4 weeks at a time, so I really wasn't full-time until late 2018, but my house was here in December of 2017, and I did live here. I flew back and forth, and I was closing out my practice and stayed with a friend. So let's call it 7 years. In the time that I've lived here, I've had 5 clothes hampers. I started out with a wicker basket under the closet, under the clothes in the closet, where the that basket you previously saw currently is. I've had 3 cloth laundry hampers similar to this one in shape that lived at various places, and it's always been a problem. I have a washer dryer laundry unit. It's wonderful. I love it. It works great, and so that's not an issue, but there's no place by it that I can have a clothes basket without sacrificing other storage. And you don't like to have a laundry basket that just looks horrible. So I finally found this one, which I'll give you a closer look at it in case you need a storage laundry solution of your own. It did come in 2 pieces. It calls itself wicker. It's some kind of coated material. It came in 2 pieces, the front and the back, each of which has a side hinge to it, and the back has the lid and the bottom. And you had to put 2 screws in it, which was fine. And it had the cloth bag, which is actually better than prior cloth bags. It's real cloth, not that flimsy mesh stuff. So I think that works pretty well. There you see the cabinet, and now there's actually a decent space to walk into the sitting room. Bear in mind, you do have to duck. The dropped loft. Formerly, this was a bed cubby, of course, and I had my writing room upstairs, which is my bedroom and my bedroom's the next to be decluttered, and I will actually video that process, as embarrassing as it will be. At least a before and after, maybe not the during. But anyway, that closed hamper I think works as well as anything, and because it's shallower than this wicker cabinet, it gives me more room. The cedar chest, which was made for my son when he was still in utero by a carpenter in Arkansas, has been at various places. It started life out over there with a little black walnut table is, and then there was a love seat. When I first had the sitting room, that is. When I had the bedroom, where was it when I had the bedroom? It might have been upstairs in my writing room, now that I think about it. But since I've had the sitting room, which has been 4 years, it started out on that wall, then it was on that wall, and then it was on that wall. It's been here for probably a year, and it jutted out, more because the wicker cabinet was wider. People sit on that all the time, and or people that visit me, which is mostly Michelle Burt, and Tim Anderson. Those are my visitors. But they like to sit on that, I think, because it's not quite as claustrophobic. It's outside of the dropped loft, so you're not quite so overwhelmed. But once you drop into the loft, duck in, I should say, and sit down, it's just like sitting in a regular room, except the ceiling is over you. But anyway, I think it looks cozy. So let me show you how the cabinet ended up, or the shoe shelves, I guess they're called. So I have the 3 baskets in there. I tend to put things heaviest on the bottom. So the 2 bottom ones are my weights and exercise bands, which, as I said, I do use. And then the little bricky-bracky, I threw away about half what was in there. And then I put my camera there, so I'll remember to charge it. There's a charging, an outlet, I guess I should. Oh, it has USBs too. And then there are my slippers and my sewing box. And I'm wearing a pair of shoes, and when I swap for my slippers, I can just tuck my shoes under there. So I think that's pretty cool. In an earlier video, 6 months ago, I think, I assembled those shoe shelves. And as with laundry baskets or hampers, I think there's 4 videos showing various ways that I stored shoes. I had a storage ottoman originally. No, they started in those cubbies. And then I put them in a storage ottoman. No longer recall why. So, there's the folding chair. That folding chair, which is the mate to the one that I use at my dining table, is normally tucked in this little slot right here. It fits perfectly. And when I get a different chair to go there, it will go back in its little slot. But I think there is room for a slightly more comfortable chair there. Now there's nothing behind it. Yeah, I think there is. And for the unenlightened, this walnut table, I'll point to it if you can see, right there. See this? My sister Joyce got that at a kind of a thrift store. It's not really a thrift store. It's like a cross between a junk store and an antique store, quite large, kind of a Quonset hut type building, I think. I could be wrong about that. In Hood, California. Anyone that's in California near Hood will know what I mean. And if it's not a Quonset hut, don't come at me. But it's a great place. And we found that. We were actually there during the pandemic, and we found that. And I admired it. And of course, she bought it for me. And it is filled with, it has sweet little doors. Let me give you a close-up. Sweet little doors. And it is filled with books by all my friends in Kansas City who are writers. So that's the way the sitting room is looking these days, now that I've made these changes. And I want to back up and give you a final view of my gallery wall, which has grown a little. My tree wall. I don't know if you've seen this yet or not, but I realized that I had quite a few pieces. I think I did a separate video on this. Kevin, if you're watching, correct me if I'm wrong, but I had oh yeah, I know I did. All I had to do was say Kevin's name, because Kevin texted me and said his favorite tree was that one, which is my son Patrick's recordation of the sequence of the branches in our Christmas tree, our artificial Christmas tree. So anyway, that's my tree gallery wall. And now I've added above it, I have to be really careful because that loft rail is 100-year-old knotty pine from my traditional house in Kansas City. But if you see the weeping woman in the middle, I think she's a geisha surrounded by butterflies. One of the new artists at Mubdy's, whose artistic name is Giovanni, did that. It is digital art. I loved it. He gave it to me as a gift. And then, of course, to the right of it are two lotus flowers. I think they're both lotus flowers. The photograph on the far right is by Samantha Besant of Kansas City, and the painting, the little wood painting, is by Marianne Benet, another California artist. And then I have my triptych of angels and of wings, an angel, butterflies, and a parrot. Those are all actually greeting cards that people have sent me. So anyway, that's how it looks now. And I do have new knobs for that. Gosh, I should have put those on, but I'm too tired. I have new knobs for the little dresser. Anyone that knows me knows the origins of that dresser. It's kind of ironic that I have it, but at any rate, it's getting new knobs. They're around here somewhere, and I'll put them on. They're kind of a brass. I don't know. They might not be real brass. Don't quote me on that. So anyway, that's my sitting room, and it's 2025, spring 2025 configuration. I think this one will probably last all year, and I like it. So thanks for spending a few minutes of my tiny life with me, and I will see you next time.